Welcome time to newcomers like to the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney finale, because I'm going to finish this game tonight if it kills me. So let's do it. We're getting really deep into this trial. Last time we found out there are some very suspicious things about Damon Gant, and that Lana Skye completely lied about stabbing Bruce Goodman. But how? Who wouldn't have figured that out already? Anyways, let's continue. The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is mistaken. That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time, but she was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency. There's always a way, Edgeworth. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There's another explanation. Have you forgotten already about a little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, right? All I'm saying is that this broken knife might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. No. Ah! Order, order, order! Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted? Your Honor, please allow me to once again go over the events that took place the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gant. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in this story, there is a lie. Oh, I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife. If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. Huh? There must have been another broken knife. What are the chances of there being two broken knives? Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's? Could there have been one? Really, I can't imagine why there would be, but I think we'll go with Edgeworth here. Broken knives don't just grow on trees. There's no way there was another one. Well, Mr. Wright, I believe the witness must be mistaken. I knew it. You really don't believe me. Huh? That flash of lightning buried an unforgettable image in her mind. One that's been torturing her ever since. Okay, so that's wrong. It's definitely this one. If the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained away by simple observational error. Mr. Wright? In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume, then, that you have some information about this other broken knife. If so, please feel free to enlighten us. The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this. Here's the real murder weapon. Ah, it had to be the jar. It had to be. If anything's broken here, it's you! Huh? I'm sure this must all be very amusing to you, Mr. Wright, but may I remind you that the fate of Miss Lana Skye hangs in the balance and the beard hates your guts. Okay, so apparently it was no. Ooh! No! It was the prosecutor trophy. It was broken. That's it. That's gotta be it. If anything's broken here, it's you! Oh, crap. Okay, so it wasn't the prosecutor trophy. What else is broken? Could have been hit her with. I don't know. The SL9 report. That's pretty thick. Crap, what was the real... Oh, the screwdriver! Duh! If anything's broken here... Okay, it's not the screwdriver. Well, what is it then if it's not the screwdriver? What about Edgeworth's knife? Nope, it's not Edgeworth's knife. Wow, this is weird. What could you killed her with? I don't understand anymore. Killed her with a rubber glove. That got me, I don't know. Strip of cloth, maybe? No. Goodman's ID. I killed her with an ID, right? What the heck? What about something in this photo? The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past. Okay, so it probably was the jar, but I had to present the photo instead. Right here inside this picture. This is a picture of the award ceremony. Oh! What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding. Okay, so it was the King of Prosecutors. Why couldn't I have just presented that? That's what I did. That's a broken knife! That was kind of a bad trick by this game, I think. As we earlier concluded, the knife in this picture was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood, this award. Oh, snap. I do it. Neil Marshall was awarded King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shield and a broken knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation. But that can't be! Oh, and why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because if the King of Prosecutors award knife was the murder weapon, then the murder and the victim would be reversed! What do you mean? I mean, the man raising a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. No. Lordy! But the prosecution was the one who actually died! That's true. Well, what's going on here? Silly, silly Phoenix. It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions. What? I remember now. I remember everything. Witness. Mr. Edgeworth. What is it? Could you show me your evidence list again, please? His list? The one with that picture scribbled on the back? I knew it. This picture. I'm the one who drew it. What? You drew that? How did you not know you drew it? That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. All this time, I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside me. I think we know what that is. Perhaps it would be best if we added this to the witness's testimony. Would you please tell us what you recalled, Miss Guy? Yes, Your Honor. First, the knife mix-up, and now the blue badger. This should be interesting. Oh boy. Emma's recollection. When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed towards both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then, there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. It wasn't his shadow, it was the face. The broken face. This is certainly most unusual. One does not objection the beard. Try impossible. I will objection the beard. The head detective of criminal affairs didn't even design him until this year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Yes, well, the beard is tired. Shut up. Stop, please. Don't pursue this any further. Lana. What's the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair. But you can't do this. I've already confessed to the crime. Why can't you just leave it at that? Chief Prosecutor Sky. We've already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Silence! The defense will now begin its cross-examination. The beard demands it or you will die. Bailiff, please detain the defendant. Seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter. I think we are. Da-da-da-da. I saw that man raise his knife. I panicked and rushed towards both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then, there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. I don't think it was the blue badger. I think it was his vase. Yeah! I figured that out a while ago. The mysterious blue badger was in fact this! But that's... what exactly is that? I believe it's some sort of vase. But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the blue badger. Indeed it doesn't. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint? Our viewpoint? We've got to show them the correct angle at which to look at this from. The correct angle at which to look at this from is this. Whoops, not like that. Alright, now turn it. Do it now. You must turn it. Okay, actually no, it might be from the bottom. Let's check the bottom. I think it is actually from the bottom, actually. Like here, maybe. Or maybe it is the top. God, what is it? Or maybe the sides. Crap. Crapodapolis. Alright, turn it around. Turn it around, something like that. Dang it, how do we get the 3 prongs on top? That's what I'm wondering. I guess like this, maybe? Let's see if that'll work. This isn't right! Okay, so it's not like that. What about like this? No? Okay, what about upright? Would upright work? Crap, what's the angle on this? Could have sworn it was on like the bottom or something. Wow, and I thought this was gonna be easy here. What the heck, man? It's gotta be like, with the 3 prongs. What did she see? What angle did she see it from? That's the question we have here. If we put it up this way, and we turn it, maybe this is what we're looking for. Hopefully it's not picky. This isn't right, I've got to make it look more like Badger. God dang it. I'm gonna be at this forever, aren't I? Okay, so apparently it's like this. I would have never got that because I don't think it really looks like a Badger, but hey, whatever. If it's what the game wants, it's what the game gets. What? What do you mean this isn't right? I just looked. It is right. There we go. Okay, just a little more. It was picky. Well, is this a miracle or what? Seriously, I would have never got that on my own. Jeez. No one can possibly deny this jar's resemblance to the blue Badger. I could. Especially since it's not painted blue. No! It can't be! Ah, snap! It actually looks like the Badger. Order, order! The defense has proven its claim, and that was a really stupid puzzle. Ah, the beard created it, that's why. The mysterious blue Badger witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this. Although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? What do you mean? So that Badger thing was actually just a jar. That doesn't change anything. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, this changes everything. Indeed. Very well, then. Please tell us, what difference now that we know the witness saw this jar? It's gotta be the location. Allow me to take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. And not only that, but she saw it at a very specific angle. Knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? Where? The location of the jar is shown in a picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on a shelf in the office of Damon Gant. But the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk, and the witness testified so herself. Yes, and yes, and it is these 2 facts that reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room in Chief Gant's office. Are you implying the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gant's office to Lana Sky's office? Yes. Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. Do you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright? Stop confusing the beard! God, dang it. Beard, dang it. I finally figured it out. So this is why Lana tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please, recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? That would have to have been the impact the man made when he was knocked into the wall? Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? The suit of armor, holding a very sharp and dangerous-looking sword. Yes. Holy crap, that's gotta be it. Since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have had to have been Neil Marshall, wielding the prosecutor's award. No! Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking. Yes. There is another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Another possibility? Of course the perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless... I don't know if I can go through with this. Mr. Wright, what's the matter? If events took place as the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man in the sky knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil Marshall. You mean Mr. Marshall died because of Oh, snap! Boom goes the dynamite. No! Thud. She fainted? Really? Wow. Obviously that hit her hard. I never imagined her testimony would lead to this. So it was the witness who took the victim's life, and then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented! What? What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Skye, but given the circumstances... Joe Doc murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin the crime on her? Imagine that, coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out about what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? I'm willing to bet you don't. Yeah, it certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence. If we don't have evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. We certainly can't get dead people to testify. Unless we had Mia here, obviously. This has all been a wild goose chase from the beginning! Humph. Touché, Miss Skye. Of course. That only leaves us with one possibility. You mean there's still another possibility? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? I mean the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or for worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind the name of a person who took his life. Somehow. That's impossible! Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left to you. A message from the deceased. Does such a message exist? I've got to think back to the court record. The real murderer's name that the victim may have left behind is in the evidence. This message from the deceased is already in our possession. Mr. Wright, will you stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer? Do not be mistaken, Miss Skye. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There is only one thing we need, the truth. No matter how painful it may be. Now then, Mr. Wright, please show us the piece of evidence that conveys a message from the deceased. Definitely the jar. This is the message left by the deceased. This is that blue badger from before, right? Oh, is he going to just speak the killer's name? If that thing could, I'm sure it would. Looks like everyone's forgotten it's just a jar. A message was left here, on the surface of this jar. What do you mean? If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on this jar. It looks like someone wiped the blood away. Yes, but notice, for some reason, the blood on some of the fragments was not wiped away. Yeah, so there's a line here, drawn in blood. So what you're saying is these dots were once lines! Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used the few precious moments left to him to leave behind a message. One that someone apparently wiped away, but blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines changed directions. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect these points, and the victim's message will become apparent. No! Mr. Wright, what kind of message did the victim leave for us? Your Honor, I believe these bloodstains will reveal to us the answer. I've got to connect these dots to make letters. There's only one thing the victim would have written given the circumstances. The murderer's name. Crap, we gotta connect the dots, really? Connect the blood traces. Okay. I guess that's what we're doing right now. It's like playing Connect the Dots, but more awesome, right? Let's see here. Ooh, I think I see where we could be going with this here, possibly. Maybe. Or maybe I'm just doing this completely wrong. I don't know. I'm doing this so terribly. What the crap, man? Alright. Oh, I made a Z. I made a Z. Okay, so I made a Z. What does it mean? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what the freak I'm doing. Help. Oh my god. I'm like making a spider web now. I don't even know. What the freak, man? I'm just making a spider web. There's like not even any rhyme or reason to what I'm doing here. Wow. Present! Yes! No, seriously, let's start over. Okay, so I think this blood trace should probably go... I don't know. Okay, so we have a Z here, I realize. This is a hard puzzle, man. This is like Professor Layton levels of hard. We have a Z. Do we have an A here by any chance? Screw it, I'm looking up a walkthrough. Well, looks like this is it. He did actually, right, Emma? What do you think? I came up with this message. Yes, I feel like I'm teaching handwriting to a student who is all thumb. Wow, okay. So, we have this, and we have this. It's a very picky connecting the dots game, but it looks like it's probably this. Yep, that's it. That's what we present. It's Emma. It's a defense attorney's duty to prove his client's innocence. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lana. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Oh, wow. Emma. So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. Of all people, she may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Skye. Wow. Ain't that a shocker? Seaworthy, can't say I didn't warn you. I do say. Oh, go away, Gant, you're a pedophile. Chief Gant, do you understand the implications of what you've done? What? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in the case, weren't you not, I do say. Dark! Yes, Worthy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death, I do say. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. But Joe Dark really was a serial murderer, that's undeniable. I'm afraid that's not important, I do say. Didn't you know we aren't defenders of justice? What? We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter, I do say. Even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery, ultimately the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied, I do say. What's going on at the prosecutor's office? They might have sent an innocent man to his death. How could he just stand there like it wasn't his fault? Order, 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 order! The band will destroy everything! The gavel's pounding fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where this trial is headed, no one knows. Good freaking God! The Baron is pissed! That's all I have to say about that. Yes, save and continue. We must finish this trial to the end. We will see this game to the end. Yes, let's do this. February 25th, 12:06, District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. Sorry, Edgeworth, I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Humph, don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. No, hope I'm not interrupting anything, pal. Oh, I guess I am. I'll come back later. Oh, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. I take it Lana's having you run errands again. Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give this to you if there wasn't a break in today's trial. Evidence law? Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day. I'm sure you know the 2 rules of evidence law, don't you, right? Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Is that right, Mr. Rudd? It seems so. You can at least study some evidence law, really. Seriously? No, your own evidence law. A chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. A message? She said, if you're planning to take him on, you're going to need this book. Him. I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. Securely slipped evidence law into pocket. Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence. That's where you're wrong, Detective. Huh? Haven't you figured it out yet? Why, I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat, despite all these allegations being thrown at me. Mr. Edgeworth! The real trial today hasn't begun yet. What? What else is there left to do? Your credibility has been all but ruined by this forged evidence you were aware of, and we're 39 episodes in, sir. 39 to 40 episodes in. Emma Skye found out she unwittingly caused a man's death, and now you're telling me you want to do more? You've got to be kidding me, pal. You're missing the point, Detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. What? And we are going to expose him, no matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. Seriously, it's time to bring this LP to the end. Yeah! February 25th, 12:52, District Court, Courtroom Number 9. Yes, is it time to cross-examine Mr. Gant? The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honor. The Inquiry Committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions, and so is the Beard. The Beard will destroy you and your reputation. Thank you for the news, Your Honor, and Sir Beard. Yes, well, normally this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness, but, the Beard thinks this LP needs to be done, so this isn't easy to say. But you see, there's some concern that Mr. Edgeworth may have, struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witnesses? I didn't say that, the Beard did! It's just, you see, everyone's been talking, and... Very well, Your Honor, I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. What? But there's never been a case example. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very efficient one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Against all odds, we will finish this, and we will get a guilty verdict on someone. Then it's settled. The, defense, I may now call for the next witness. Mr. Wright, you do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over, and you are an idiot. The defense calls. The time's finally come to bring out the real murderer. It's Bruce Goodman! He murdered himself! Yeah, it was definitely Meekins. Look at that face. It's the face of evil! Face of evil! No, it was actually Damon Gant. I wonder what happens if you pick Lana Skye. I'm just curious. It appears I've overestimated you, Mr. Wright. Huh? For a moment, I actually thought you knew. But no, what did I just do? Oh, good. Okay, I thought I saved for a second. I was like, what the freak? The real murderer is Damon Gant. Damon Gant. The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand.
Damon Gant? What does he have to do with anything?
As a defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the last least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor?
True.
All right, bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this, some kind of practical joke? I do say I am not amused. I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir? Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation. So, you want to play hardball, eh? I do say.
Please, Mr. Gant.
Fine. My name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. I do say. Now then, Chief Gant, the chief of court requests to hear your testimony. Oh, righto. What's with the grim face? First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean that time when line assist murdered that prosecutor, I do say? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There's still some things unaccounted for. Oh, like what, I do say? Like the role you played in all of this. Son, either you're very brave, I do say, or very foolish. You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal, I do say. Weapons? Sure, take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. What? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. That's, pretty crappy, actually. What kind of law is this? Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks. Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial, I do say. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you, I do say. Very well, the witness may now begin his testimony. The beard is ready to end this. SL9 incident. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either, I do say. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently, she'd already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery, I do say. Is that when Dark was arrested? He was lying on the floor unconscious, I do say. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Doc bumped his head. I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut. If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I'd better hit him hard and fast. Yes, we should. SL9 incident. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. Power outage didn't help either. In my office, I saw Lana. Apparently, she'd already arranged the crime scene. What does that mean? How can you know that? Because of the victim's body. It had already been moved, I do say. So that means... You found the body near Lana's desk? That's right, I do say. I think you said earlier it was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor. Yes. Anyway, as you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Oh, crap. That's what I'm talking about. If you really had nothing to do with the forgery, then how did you explain this? What's that? And what's that on it? A handprint? Chief Gant, your explanation, please. I don't know. You tell me, son. My dear Righto, don't you know the second rule of evidence law? Uh-oh, not this again. Evidence law. Rule 2, unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case in trial, I do say. Tell me, how is that rag relevant to this trial? It appears the defense was not prepared. I guess it's too early to use a piece of evidence. Please accept my profound apologies, Chief. Would you mind giving this defense another chance? Well, okay, I'll do it just this once, but only because you asked, I do say. Thank you, I assure you the defense is terribly sorry, ha ha ha. Yeah, sorry I didn't nail you. So that was too early, huh? Make a long story short, apparently she'd already arranged the crime scene. You had nothing to do with the forgery. I believe you did. So it's too early to present that evidence. What about the evidence list? You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery, but I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this list, for example.
That's the list I have a sky driller picture on.
This was discovered in your desk. Not only that, but a piece of this jar that was sitting in your office was found inside your safe.
It was found where?
You see, Chief Can, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in that illegal investigation.
Chief Gant, what's the meaning of this?
Oh, here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then, that you were involved in the forgery. Who, me, or do you mean you, I do say? Me? Why would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence, I do say. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, right-ho? However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment, I do say. What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work. That's true. Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office, and their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My. Kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. Evidence and forgery. Let's see, what was it now? A jar fragment and a list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when these pieces of evidence were discovered. They were found after Jock was convicted, and they're worthless, I do say. There's no reason I participate in the forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way.
Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor.
When investigating the crime scene,
you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You understand that I am the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. Indeed, I believe I will press charges so you won't make the same mistake again, I do say.
My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know.
All right, are you in return, though?
I know, the place, right?
Huh? What are these guys, telepathic? Evidence and forgery. For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. I think we can. But how is the question. How do we prove when these pieces of evidence were discovered? What about here? Nope. How do we prove when these pieces of evidence were discovered? That's hard to say. What do we press? What do you mean by that? This is all purely hypothetical, of course, but suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery. If a concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery, I'm not through speaking yet, Mr. Wright, I do say. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. Bullcrap. They can't be worthless. No way. No? Why do you think they're worthless? Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have been suddenly materialized the day after Doc was sentenced. Oh, well, wouldn't that be convenient? Right. The chief is talking about a possibility. So long as you can't rule that out, your remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know. Come now, Mr. Wright, think about it. There's no reason I participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. I believe it would. But how is the question? Maybe there's something in the rules of evidence. Oh wait, it would because of the, where is that? Not the Goodman's Lost Item Report. We're looking at the ID card record. No? Okay. Do we have to press everything, maybe? Really, Chief Gant? At the very least, there's one very large benefit you reap from all this. Oh, I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would, of course, be the position you have, Chief of Police. Oh! The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Ho, 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 ho! Oh, that's a good one. Huh? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes. He was going to be made chief anyway. Ah! Be careful when pointing that finger. You might wind up being the one pointed at, I do say. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I do say. There, it's out in the open now. Auntie, would you mind if I change testimony a little? By all means, please do. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me. Let's press. Nothing in it for you? Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you better think again, I do say. You're right, but don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people, that's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Ho 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 ho! Ho ho! That's a good one, Worthy. Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? Accomplice, huh? Yes, I believe so. True, you might not help out anyone for their sake, but if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to betray the chief. As a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean. Very well, I'll ask. Who is it this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forge evidence? I believe it's Lana Skye. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye? The defendant? Who else would it be? I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed chief prosecutor at the prosecutor's office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. But how would he profit from all of this? He would be able to use the chief prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. Do you mean to tell me that despite of Chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? I do say I do like to puppet every once in a while. Oh wait, the beard is stupid! You must mean puppet isn't someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind, the beard had a gray moment. A minute, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive is to appoint her as chief prosecutor so you can control her. Righto, my boy, you have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this? I do say that I controlled Lana. For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Lana. She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant. I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless that is also what happened in the incident. This incident? Which one would that be? Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The chief prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial, almost as if someone has been controlling her. Well, you'd better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. Whoa, 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 what?
Oh my God! The beard is going to explode of excitement. Order, order, order! I said order! Mr. Wright, you can't be serious. Huh? This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder? That's impossible! The beard is angry!
Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in easier to understand language. He's putting it all on Edgeworth, that's awesome. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. It looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright, that the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder? Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a... The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. All right, then. Show us the evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman. Just remember, it better be good. He has a... It's the Blue Badger! My attorney's badge! Alright, anyways. The evidence that ties Chief Gant, I'm gonna say, is the ID card record. This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on that day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 7777777. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number. What? How did you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits? You don't mean? The luckiest code ever. I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 77777, the same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. Ooh, look at him. He's pissed. Oh, snap, man. And Cornered's playing. Crap's going down. Order, order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations. And I would demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. Chief Gant, so you admit it? You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime? What about it? I'm chief of police. Whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom, what's the difference? I can go anywhere I want, I do say. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, I do with the evidence room, I do say. Aha, I'm talking about poop, I do say. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Of course not, why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. You hadn't seen him in days? Chief Gant, I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt. No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gant on the day of the crime. The ID badge? No, there's got to be something more solid than this. Okay. Proof that he... Ooh, nope, not the handprint. That's Marshall's. My bad. What could it be? What could it be? Oh my God, what is it? I can't think of it right now. What is it? Perhaps it's the rubber glove. Nope. Crap. What about the evidence locker? Nope. Crap. Nope. Crap, what is it? I can't think of it, man. I tell you what. Oh. Could it have been the lost item report? Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. I was right. Yes, it is a lost item report. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the chief of police. Yet you were in possession of this report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it, I do say. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh! Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Hold on, let me guess what you're going to say next. The chief of police murdered Paul Goodman. Exactly.
But wait, the chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card.
Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of that sort, I do say. Oh, Chief Gat, sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once, but you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. No! Good God, I think he just went Super Saiyan.
Chief Gat, you didn't.
The murder was most likely committed on the spur of the moment. No one in their right mind would have chosen to choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why else to dispose of Detective Goodman's body? However, the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know, I do say. And everyone was aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey, you, take this here dead body over here to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so, I do say. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to prosecutor's office. And all the time, I thought it was a useless clue just taking up space.
How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence.
To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. The knife. Just kidding. My attorney's badge. What did he use to move the body? He used the rubber glove. Well, I see. Maybe I'll use this later. No? Okay, so it's not the rubber glove. He used... What did he use to move the body? My God. I don't know. It's probably really obvious. I just have to figure out what it is. What is it? I can't figure it out, man. What is it? Maybe it's something on the parking lot floor plans. Well, no, it's nothing on the parking lot floor plans. Great. Okay, something in the crime photo? No? God, what did he use to move the body? I'm so confused right now. You're probably all screaming at me because it's really obvious. Man. Used... I don't know. No? What about the blue badger? I don't know. Oh, Edgeworth's car. We haven't even used this parking stub yet, have we? This is how we moved Detective Goodman's body.
A parking stub? Miles Edgeworth.
You mean, the body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I knew it would hit me, eventually. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. Oh, snap. That was it, man. You mean I carried the victim's body? Precisely so. But wait, even you know. I didn't plan on returning to my office after the ceremony finished that day. But you did return. Tell me why. Ah, yeah, was asked to go. By Chief Gant, no less. He told me he wanted me to keep a screwdriver at the prosecutor's office. Oh man, is that a forged fake piece of evidence? In any case, on the day of the incident, I brought this to the prosecutor's office. So that was a fake piece of evidence, right? So you see, what you really took to the prosecutor's office wasn't the screwdriver, but the victim's body in your trunk. That's it. Screwdriver has nothing to do with the case.
Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car.
Yes, unless, of course, you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to carry evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye.
Holy crap. Order! What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal for the defense's outrageous accusations?
Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It is a photo of the body being taken from the trunk.
Chief Cat, please say something.
I believe your time is up.
My time is up?
Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're to make it in time for the early bird special, I do say. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal.
Weapons?
Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now.
What? That is not right to be casually invoked.
You were a chicken, Damon Gant. There are certain risks to be considered.
You stay and take your punishment.
So you're going to just run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what y'all saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, You think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show y'all proof and get it over with.
I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. David Gant is the current chief of police.
This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright, Your Honor, do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Sky dispose of his body? Do I have any concrete proof? Yes, I believe I do. Can't let him just squirm his way out of... Actually, let's pick the other one just to see what happens. It's no use showing evidence I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor, at present I have no conclusive evidence. Humph, see, Udgy? In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief. What? I don't gamble unless the stakes are high. Seems the Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Udgy, I'll leave the rest to you. Snap. Okay, maybe that was a very wrong thing to do. I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency. What? Lady Luck, maybe we should have a word with her.
Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean?
There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. A lady who knows the truth. Another witness. In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else. One more witness who can answer all the questions raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room.
Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person?
Your mother. Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling witnesses today. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? She may not be willing to tell the truth, but we can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls forth Mr. Macon. It's obviously Lana Sky. The defendant?
Miss Lana Sky?
She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 on February 21st. Her task, to dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders.
Mr. Edgeworth.
The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defense's testimony. This court is now in
Hold on! Huh?
Chief Gant, I thought you were going somewhere. Listen good, Lana. He's talking to Lana. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claim, there will be terrible consequences, I do say. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder. Ah, this isn't good. Of course, you'd never support such outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about, I do say. All right, then. I've got a lunch date to meet.
Freaking Gant! Okay, if there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess.
God dang it. February 25th, 2:04, District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. Looks like we've managed to stay in the game.
Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth.
That chief. He thump mouth, eh, pal? Detective Gumshoe? Ha ha ha, I'm not a detective anymore. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Don't worry, I've already decided where to work now. At your office! My office? Sure! I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with. Could he mean... Maya? Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant, done it again. How he always gets the upper hand? It's not fair he has the right to refuse to testify. Settle down, right? Remember what the judge said.
But Chief, this is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered.
What risks are those? Your integrity? Risks. What do you mean by that? It's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? Who is this? Emma! Emma, are you okay?
Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery.
So she heard everything that's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before.
No, don't, Blue. That was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved.
Relieved?
Yeah, now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. And she did it all just to protect me.
Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her.
What do you mean?
What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside, to force herself to do anything and everything the chief told her to do. That must be why she became so cold.
It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall.
Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal.
Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor.
I see. Well, we better get back in touch. Get back. It's time for the final act. Emma, why don't you wait?
No, I'm going with you. I want to be there when Lana tells the truth.
Let's go, right? It's time to end this. Final trial. My God. So long. We're almost done. I can't believe this. We are almost done. Oh, freaking wow. February 25th, 221, District Court, courtroom number 9.
Now then, will the defendant, Miss Lana Skye, please take the stand?
Please do. We need to get this over with. Miss Lana Skye, you are the chief prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you. But, Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know all that I've done these past 2 years.
Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Skye, and remember, you are under oath. We want to hear the truth.
Of course, the truth.
Lana, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister.
Well, that's logical, isn't it?
Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with Gant.
Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only chance we have to get Gant. Gotta get Gant. Get Gant. Gotta get Gant. Get Gant. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Doc convicted. It has nothing to do with Emma. Bullcrap.
Are you sure about this testimony?
Your Honor, I'm confessing to a capital offense. Of course I'm sure.
But Lana!
If this is true, then that means Chief Gant has nothing to do with this. That's what I've been telling you from the beginning.
Please, Mr. Wright, you've got to help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me.
But what if she's telling the truth?
She's not. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony.
Yeah, this is no time to start second-guessing myself.
The defense may now begin its cross-examination.
We are 2 in to lose now, I tell you what. Let's go for the gold. Gant in the fabrication. Yes, there's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. Yeah, well, what about this? No? Okay, press. Did you do so to help your sister? Joe Doc was a serial killer. My sister almost became his last victim that day. I didn't want that incident to ruin her life. But what she did was justifiable self-defense. She wouldn't have been charged with anything. That's not the point. She was traumatized that day, all because of that creep. That's why I couldn't forgive her.
Lana! So that's why you fabricated the evidence 2 years ago?
When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. You couldn't do that all by yourself, could you? You say you did this all by yourself? Yes. Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken prosecutor award knife was stuck in the victim's body. What? But Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. That's only a situation you dreamed was possible. The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change this statement. You mean Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark? Something like that. If that is so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife. Oh, that was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away from in the struggle. That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up for her lies with more lies. All just to protect me. So when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to. Yes. I broke off the tip of Dark's knife, planted it inside the wound, then moved the body. That sounds like an awful lot of work, doesn't it? Punctured heart and lung? We haven't even presented that piece of evidence yet, have we? Okay, that's wrong. Broke off the tip and planted it inside the wound, then moved it inside the move the body. Okay. What about the floor plans? Nope. Why don't we press this then? You planted the tip of Dark's knife in the victim's wound, and then you moved the body? But why? Why would you do that? You, of all people, should know, Edgeworth. You've always had a good head on your shoulders. My head isn't that bad, but maybe I ought to ask for the sake of others. Why did you move the body? Why did you plant the knife? Why did you move the body? When you showed up on the scene, where exactly was the victim's body? It was where you deduced it was, by Chief Gant's desk. But the body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there? The reason for that is simple. Let's have the witness explain this in more detail. The reason that Mr. Guy moved the body. The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan. The jar really shattered during your events, really? Of course that's wrong, because somebody had to write on it. Miss Guy, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister. You mean the forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered? If that's the truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been useless. Even so, I am compelled to bring to everyone's attention the significant contradiction within your testimony. A contradiction? In my testimony? You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan." That's right. Do you have a problem with that? It's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on the jar with the victim's blood. Yes, the prosecutor must have written it on his final moments. Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies. In order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar, it must not yet have been broken before he died. Ah! He couldn't have written Emma's name on that shattered jar. Snap, snap, snap. Order, order! Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regard to this jar and its bloody message. We may be missing something critical here. Something critical? Chief Prosecutor, it seems you're as in the dark as we are, about the truth towards which we're headed. What? Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at the truth. Very well, the witness may now continue her testimony. Jar and message in blood. I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar, but it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered. You mean you were the one who wiped away this message in blood? I wasn't chief prosecutor at the time. She didn't think Dark was the real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence. Very well. The defense may now begin a trial examination. Okay, but we see Emma's fingerprints on that, so I kind of doubt it was her, right? Immediately noticed the blood traces, but it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. I think that's false because we found Emma's fingerprints on the cloth, right? Obviously not in that statement. Fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered. Okay, fine. Let's press. I'm afraid this action of yours reveals what really happened. What do you mean? If you really thought Dark killed Prosecutor Marshall, you wouldn't have wiped away the blood. But what else could I have done in that situation? Lana! I only had a few moments. There wasn't enough time for me to do anything else but gather up the pieces. Fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. Except for one, obviously, right? Because that was what was in Gant's locker. Yeah! That's what I'm talking about. Miss Sky, I believe this jar conceals a truth even you were unaware of. What? We found the final piece of this jar in Gant's safe. In the chief's safe? But how? I knew it. She really didn't know. There's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was still blood on it. But the witness just testified that she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off of them. Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up on the scene. Chief Gant got there before you. Gringos me petrones. But couldn't the defendant have simply missed a piece? I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective. That may well be, but everyone makes mistakes. Even I once wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Ha, can you believe that? The beard feels silly. Have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken. Oh, that. There's no way a name could have been written on a shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness. Hope you're not implying the person was Chief Gant. At the time, he was looking for Doc downstairs. Besides, even if he was there first, why would we break the jar? The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide the fact for 2 years? Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that? No. The beard is confused. Wait, I'm not the one on trial here. Damon Gant arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposefully hid one of the broken pieces. Question, what is this action called? Fabrication. But why would Chief Gant do that? In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear? What happened afterwards? Discovering the scene, Lana Sky believed her sister Emma killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending her his aid, Gant helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma. And here is the reason. The reason why Miss Sky became the Chief's puppet. No, I did it on my own. Sis, please stop trying to project the Chief. I can't watch you suffer anymore for my sake. No, you didn't. It wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone. Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients. Foul lies? Imagine that coming from my own client. I guess you do seem the type who likes to twist the truth. Wait a minute. What if we're still smack dab in the middle of Gant's trap? There's something wrong, Mr. Wright? Lana, maybe you're right after all. What do you mean, Wright? So you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright? Miss Sky, please testify once more. But if evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie. But I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall. Miss Sky, if you will. I can't. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there is a possibility that it will, if you tell the truth. Very well. I'll testify about what I really saw. Alright, the witness may testify once more for the final time. Is this the final testimony? Please tell me it is. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on the suit of armor's sword. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what had happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gant help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was a fabrication, Emma might be innocent. It sounds like something we need to press. Unbelievable! The body was impaled on the armored sword! You were the only one who saw that. If only you had proof. Actually, I do have proof. I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning. What? To me? It's a picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it. I thought it might be needed. But I don't remember receiving a picture like that. Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright, she really does have faith in you. Very well, Mr. Wright, please present this picture. Don't remember receiving any pictures from Lana. Lana said she gave it to you this morning, right? Seem to remember getting something from her then. Let's check that evidence again. There must be a picture in there somewhere. Okay, since we needed a spot to present it, I'm fairly certain that the picture is this evidence law. So let's open it and see. What do we got? Can we check it at all? Come on, there's gotta be some way to check this evidence law, right? Nothing, really? There we go, examine. Aha! I knew it. There it is. Hey, there's a picture here. Whoa, that proves it. Oh my. This is the actual crime scene. No, the detective saw the crime scene like this. That's because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I rearranged the scene. Lana's picture inserted into the court record. Duh, Mr. Wright, that piece came out from his vest. Could that be? The cloth was to be found inside Chief Gant's safe. What's this? It's a handprint. That cloth, it had fingerprints on it. Whoever fingerprints those are must be the real murderer. They're yours, Emma. What? But those fingerprints, they're yours, Emma. Why are your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright? Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination. As long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flush out the real murderer. Very well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. Once more, my God, how much more of this do we have left? All right. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on that suit of armor sword. What the heck? What just happened? Oh, hi, Chief Gant. Come now, what do I do say? This is the poorest excuse for trial I've ever seen. Chief Gant. What, now you want to make me out as a bad guy too, I do say? If so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defense. I'm afraid it's too late for that. What? You already declined testimony. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort. This must be the risk the judge was talking about. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your own neck. So what? You think I'm worried? Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements. What do you mean? The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence. Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence? No, I don't, but someone does. Someone? So then, what's your excuse, righto, I do say? Why have you been keeping it quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death? Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt? Is this true, Mr. Wright? Should we show it or not? If I show that piece of evidence now, Emma's sure to be made out as the murderer. Mr. Wright, if you have any more evidence, present it now, and if you try to conceal anything, you will be the one appearing before the court. The Board of Inquiries. What do I do now? I'd better think this through carefully. I can't afford to make the wrong decision. Should I present that piece of evidence? The one that she shows who really killed Prosecutor Marshall? Well, you know what? It's evidence in the trial, and it would be wrong of us to conceal it. That's a bad lawyer thing there. And if there's any time to show it, it's now. So let's do it. Yes, Your Honor. I do have further evidence. All right, time's finally come to show it to them. You're not going to be happy in a minute, Emma. Those prints have got to be the Chief's. Now, then, let's show you this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall. My God. It's this. That's a piece of leather clothing? Yes, it most likely was cut from the victim's vest near his chest. What's this? There's a big handprint on it. Surely it must have been left on the cloth by whoever shoved the victim into the sword, I do say. What? Whose fingerprints are on this? I'm sure Righto was checked, haven't you? Well, who are they? They're Miss Skies. Miss Emma Skies. What? They're mine? So I really did do it. See, I told you it was conclusive. But this was found in your safe. That means it's possible you forged it. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember any cloth in my safe, I do say. Do you really expect me to believe that? But... give it up, Mr. Wright. It's over. You shouldn't have presented that. By presenting that evidence, you tied Emma Sky to Neil Marshall's death. No! It appears we have our killer. No! So, did I do a wrong thing? No! Everything hinged on that point. In the end, Lana was found guilty. This must be the bad ending. Oh, crap. God dang it. Well, okay then. So, that's not the evidence we needed to present, apparently. Evidence that shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall. Probably the picture. No, I can't show them that yet. Why not? You know which item to show. Mr. Wright, if you're not sure, then think it through again. How can you use that evidence to your advantage? What do I do now? I better think this through. No, don't show it. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. What? You lie! Chief Gant? You opened my safe! I knew you took what was inside! That conclusive evidence! I don't know what you're talking about. Wow, this is like a complete turn of the tables when you do this one, man. That's awesome. Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together. Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it. What are you talking about, Chief Gant? Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? Looks like part of it's been cut off for some reason. You mean you had this in your safe? What? That means you, the chief of police, concealing evidence? This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department. Oh yes, scandal. Impressive, I do say. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, Righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened, I do say. What? You mean you admit to it? Good Lord. This has to be it, man. There is no more after this. I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana, I do say. So you really were manipulating her? I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister, that's when she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid. So you assisted Miss Sky. I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. And I ended up using up the evidence to get Joe Doc convicted. When we rearranged the crime scene, I had 2 pieces of evidence. I did this before Lana arrived at the scene. 2 pieces of evidence? You mean these items in your safe? But why? For insurance, of course. Insurance? I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst, I do say. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed. You mean we're calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence? Who do you take me for, a fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck, I do say. See this jar fragment? I hid the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off of all the pieces. But if you fabricated all the evidence, what's to say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar, too? Ho, 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 ho! Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept 1 more item for insurance, I do say. You mean that piece of cloth? Come on, Righto, cough it up already. I know you have it. What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright? So you admit to it then, Chief Gant, that you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe. Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that, being chief and all, but it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present. Foolish move, Righto. You should have showed it then before it was too late. It's been a long battle. But the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here, victory is mine. Show evidence. Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now. All right, and let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall. What about this? Mr. Edgeworth, your opinion, please. I think Mr. Wright's humor has improved at the expense of his defense. Okay, anyways, it's this one. I was thinking maybe we can pull a fast one on him, but I guess the game won't want me to do that. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Oh yes, at least you partly brought it out into the open, I do say. There's a handprint on this piece of cloth. Your Honor, the prosecution requests it be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather, there must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly. You mean, it could not have been forged, it must have been authentic, conclusive evidence. Oh ho ho, you're as slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy. What? Think about it. Oh, righto, had all this time to present the evidence, I do say. Yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that? Mr. Wright, do you really know? Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they? Very well. I'll tell you. It should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. The person whom these fingerprints belong to are... obviously, Detective Gumshoe! He's the murderer. Just kidding. Emma? Emma Sky? What, there, man? I'm sorry, Emma, but what? Why didn't you tell me? Because you did not need to know at the moment until now. Oh, you're really something, righto. You knew this girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me, I do say. So it's true. Tragic, but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death. How could you, you monster? Miss Sky, you knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't. Miss Sky, it's not over yet. What? I said this trial isn't over yet. Ha, but I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career, too. I do say. You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. What's the matter, cat got your tongue? I do say, aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer? Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up. Oh, and what's that, I do say? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? What? Chief Gant, you are absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you asked? It was Emma Sky, wasn't it? I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. What? A contradiction? What is this fool babbling about? I'm talking about a contradiction, one that proves who the real killer is. Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth, what could it possibly contradict? Chief Gant, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth. That piece of evidence is... What is that piece of evidence? What haven't we presented? This? And what exactly is this supposed to be? Oh, I was right, good. This is a picture Miss Sky took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of his vest was cut out? Yeah, his shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all the blood on his vest, though. Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs, no doubt, were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth. Oh, but that piece of cloth! Wait. There's no blood on it! Ah! Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she showed the prosecutor a side. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword. No, this is nonsense! Now then, Chief Kent, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside. He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out. If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Sky? Picked up the unconscious prosecutor and impaled him on the armor's sword. Yeah! Then to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. Then he broke the jar on purpose to leave behind a clue. And make Alana believe her sister did it! Remember what you admitted only moments ago? That you personally cut out this bloodless piece of victim's vest? Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating insurance, you proved that you were the actual murderer! No, I do say. It's finished. And he went Super Saiyan. What? Who's objecting now? What the freaking... You were so close, Rhino. You almost had me. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations. I do say. What do you mean you refute his allegations? You see, that piece of cloth is illegal evidence. I do say. Order, order. What nonsense is this? Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Reggie. Earlier, old Righto here concealed that piece of cloth. So then, what's your excuse, Righto? You do have some conclusive evidence, do you? Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence. At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence, I do say. But that's not fair! Did you actually think you could best me in court? Looks like the last laugh's on you, son. I do say. My God, he keeps hanging on. I'm afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legitimate. Well, Mr. Edgeworth? True. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person, assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal. Well, Mr. Wright? It seems at last. The time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived. Mr. Wright, you admit to it, that you purposely and illegally concealed this piece of cloth? I did not. Certainly, I refused to present evidence at one point. Aha! So the evidence is illegal! No, it isn't, Mr. Gant. Huh? It's not that I didn't present evidence then, it's that I couldn't. What do you mean you couldn't? There are certain procedures involved when presenting evidence. No, Eddie, don't listen to this lies. There's nothing but a coward. You can't let him. There is only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? Very well, let us settle this once and for all. Earlier, you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now. The Book of Evidence Law. That is it. Not the longest picture, the evidence law. This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law. What's this? I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more. What? You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of evidence law. Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself, inside your safe. It goes without saying I did not have approval from the police department. Rule number 2, unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case in trial. And here is the crux of this matter. You see, at the time, it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident. What? What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and... Sorry, but can you recall when was that picture presented? That was shown only a few moments ago. No! He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Gant. You yourself confessed to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Oh, yes. No! It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth. The only person who could have got this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, a real murderer. And there's only one person who that could be. Damon Gant! The killer was you! I knew I should have gotten rid of him! That good-for-nothing scum! For 2 years he's been snooping around the department trying to get something on me! Crimes are being committed every day and he insisted on hounding me! Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. He wanted to reinvestigate the case! He recruited Angel Starr, then convicted Bruce Goodman. Detective Goodman? Yeah, that's right. If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you gotta help me. God, that hurt my throat so bad. Goodman turned him down as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit. He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence. Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden he had to speak out, I do say. What are you talking about, Goodman? Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered. Hey, told me to open up the evidence room and take it out. It's not too late. I'll hand this to Marshall. Well, to be honest, I was a little panicked too. I had a bad feeling about it, but never knew it would come to this, I do say. That's when I saw it. The accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out. That's what she said. It would only increase the amount of blood, and you couldn't finish. Oh, well, I'm talking in the Beard's voice for some reason. The Beard lives vicariously through Mr. Edgeworth. You can only increase the amount of blood, and you couldn't finish what you started. Even so, the blood was just pouring out, I do say. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I was wiping it up. I was worrying so much about the floor, I didn't realize my mistake. Detective Gumshoe's bloody handprint. I used to be known as a crime computer, but everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it. Then you put the body in my car? I'm sorry, we couldn't think of any other way to move the body. We broke the trunk, but what's the big deal? You pulled down a lot more than us detectives. What does this have to do with anything? You're horrible! How could you get Miss Sky involved in all this? Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out. So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker. I feel bad for having to do it. I couldn't sit around and pick and choose what to take, I do say. Well, you left the jar fragment in gloves. Yes. It looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. You certainly were, Mr. Gant. You certainly were. They all did their best to get in my way. Gotta hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay, I do say. Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that. Tell me, Worthy, what are you doing in court? Me? You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same, I do say. One day you'll understand. If you want to take them on alone, you'll figure out what's needed. Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Udgy. Oh, what? Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend. I'm sorry too, Damon Gant. I'm sorry that the beard had to whip your butt. Ugh. I knew you as you used to be long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person. The beard is very disappointed in you. The beard is disappointed. Those days are gone now, Wedgie. Thanks for the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Righto here. And Worthy. With these two around, you can't go wrong. You see, if I listen carefully, I can hear it right now. The sound of a new beginning. Yeah, that should be it. Alright. Meanwhile, there are two things I want you to understand. Yes? First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Sky, you no longer have any reason to keep silent. You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years, from the time I had Gant help me forge evidence up until today. So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered. I'm sorry, Miss Sky. I couldn't get you out of all your trouble. My, what high standards you have for a rookie. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows? A few years from now, you just might make it to the top. Oh, she actually smiled for once. Wow. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. Miss Sky. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you. Humph, it was nothing. Liar! I was worried the presser might break you. And yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth. Stop it, I only did my job. In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Sky? Yes, Your Honor. You're innocent of murder, however. Although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as an accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date. Yes, I understand, Your Honor. Is there something amusing about all this? Why are you smiling? It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of these heavy chains. Well, this trial has gone on far too long already, and so has this Let's Play. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Sky, not guilty! Yeah! Confetti, motherfreakers. That's what I'm talking about. And that is all. The court is adjourned. Sure as heck is. February 25th, 503 District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. At long last, it's finally over. Emma? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook, but at least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit. No, that's not it. Just now, after the trial ended. I can see why Mia Fey thought so highly of you. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. You've done well. You know, I did my best too, but Lana didn't say a single word to me. Hope I'm not interrupting anything. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Bye, Gumshoe. Ah, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You're doing it on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Oh, the beard has deja vu. Hey, lighten up, pal. I'm only kidding. Oh, are you here because of my sister again? Nope, not this time. I came today because of you, pal. Huh? That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone. Lana! Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know. Well, I won't tell you if you won't. Emma, I owe you an apology. It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it. That day, 2 years ago, was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess. Sis, I asked Gant to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake. But now I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing you, but I couldn't just bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew. But sis, you were only doing it for me. No. Huh? I turned my back on you that day. I'm hiding what I believed to be the truth. I was deceiving you. Sis. I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm so sorry. But sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now. You're happy? Of course. You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have. Oh, Emma! Emma! Aww, look at that. That's adorable. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in so doing, we can find the way back to our path. And once we've found our path, we can move on from our past mistakes towards a brighter future. At least that's what I felt, looking at those two sisters make up. Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe. Me? Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right, Edgeworth? Edgeworth? Stop hiding and come over here. Where was he hiding? I just came to say, congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Right. Well, I'll be going now. Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you. It's too late for me. No matter what anyone may say, I realize today that I can't change my own mistakes. Mr. Edgeworth! Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gant was right. You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day you'll understand. If you want to take them on alone, you'll figure out what's needed. I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. But in order to fight crime alone, one needs a weapon. It's scary, but I've been thinking the same thing for quite some time now. But Edgeworth? Who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull this something like Chief Gant did. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor. Edgeworth, don't you understand? Damon Gant and your mentor, Manfred von Karma, were both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime, but they both made the same mistake. You said in order to fight crime alone, one needs a weapon. That may be right, but think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. You were working together with Mr. Wright, and because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? Huh? What? Oh, yeah. What is this, a pop quiz? Come on, Mr. Wright, show him what Lana's talking about. Evidence? That neither Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own? What would that be? Evidence that neither Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own. Oh. This, picture, right? Or this book, right? That might mean something to you. Okay, no. No? Okay, well, I don't really know. I don't really know, to be honest. Couldn't have found, would not have been able to find on our own. Oh. No? Well, what is it? I don't even know. That's weird. Oh, the screwdriver. Duh. The only thing we haven't used. What? Really? Nothing? Okay, so it's not the screwdriver, so that makes the screwdriver completely pointless for this whole thing. Evidence that we would not be able to find on our own. It's gotta be something really obvious, I just can't figure out what it is. Blue badger? I don't know. What about this? No? Evidence list. Oh, it's that. Okay. That's the picture I drew. Oh, okay, that's what we're doing here. Our counterattack began with this. You had one half of the evidence list, and I had the other. That makes sense. Apart, we wouldn't have been able to completely restore Emma's picture. That didn't just happen by chance, Edgeworth. It's time for me to go. Mr. Edgeworth, if you'll excuse me, there are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor. Edgeworth, what? What will you do now? Well, whatever you do, just remember, what happened in this trial can either make or break you as a prosecutor. In the end, it's up to you. I know. It seems I owe you my thanks too, right? But what I face now is my problem. Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court. Farewell. I'd better be getting back. Okay, I'll come visit you. It seems we both still have a lot to learn. She's cute when she smiles. Here, this is a little something for you. Scientific investigation. It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis, I will. Yeah. And so another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Yeah. Faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. Well, don't go trekking off just yet, pal. Huh? What is it, detective? There's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this. But I thought you said it was okay. Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks at the prison are a different story. Huh? Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes. Darn it, Gumshoe! Stop getting yourself in trouble. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either. Huh? Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side. Yeah, well, haha! You see, Mr. Wright here is the one who will be footing the bill. Huh? What, you think I could afford that with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal. Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best. Oh, why is it? I suddenly feel like I want to scream. Since we're all here, why don't we all go together? Yeah, that's a great idea. Come on, guys. Let's go. Oh, my God. Well, guys, that was Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, the whole thing. I hope you guys enjoyed this LP. Phoenix Wright series is one of my favorite series, and I'm glad... Oh, I arranged for a friend of mine in Europe to take care of Emma. She's a coroner. I think Emma would be pleased. As for me, this affair has pretty much ended my days at the prosecutor's office. Still, I'll manage to find my way back to the field somehow. Then I'll be able to investigate crimes together with Emma. That would be awesome. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this LP. I hope it wasn't too slow. I didn't get so many views on it, but next one I'm doing, I've already said, is Apollo Justice, and I've gathered quite a few lines for it already. I've been casting people like crazy trying to get this up, so I hope the next one's more enjoyable, because it's involving you guys. Yikes, I was a goner for a moment there. In the end, though, they overlooked my unauthorized investigation of the chief's office. If we penalized you anymore, it'd be worse than firing you. Yep, that's what they said. It just goes to show, you can't shake me off that easily. No, they can't, Gumshoe, they certainly cannot. But yeah, I'm hoping the next one is more engaging and gets more views because it's actually involving you guys that are participating. It's a way to say thank you by involving you guys in my LPs, you know. Apollo Justice is a fantastic game, by the way. For one, you'll actually get to see where Emma goes to, which is cool because I'm doing it right after this game, which is, you know, the only Ace Attorney game other than that game with Emma in it. So you get to see what happens to Emma. My new mission is to go to the main entrance and take care of Billy. Can you believe it? I've been demoted to a security guard. My partner's keeping an eye on the entrance for me today. I'll show them, though. Someday I'm going to make detective. Yes, sir. Then I can be just like that dick Gumshoe. Wow, he aspires to be like Gumshoe. That's just freaking sad, I do say. But yeah, Apollo Justice, in my opinion, is the best in the series next to Phoenix Wright 3. Now that you're familiar with all the characters, you should be familiar with the story and the characters in that game. Now what? Hi, Blue Badger. I still think you're creepy. What, are we just gonna sit here and watch the Blue Badger dance? That's what it seems like it wants me to do. Fail. That's Badger. But yeah, Apollo Justice is a fantastic game with a great twist at the end, and you guys will love that LP. I did it on live stream once, my viewers were enthralled about it. So I'm really looking forward to doing it. Oh, hi, Marshall. What is it? Can't you see I'm having me a showdown with a steak lunch partner? Miss Star managed to sneak this into me. She's seen one of the gods, it seems. Well, cowboy, it looks like you did it. You even gave Bambina back her smile. Can you make sure Billy and the gang get their water? Sure thing, Mr. Marshall, sure thing. But the people in the live stream were enthralled. So I can't wait. I look forward to doing what my live streamers call Apollo. Looks like we won't be seeing each other for a while. As a farewell gift, I put a new meal on the menu, the Right Way Lunch. The top layer tastes as bitter as defeat, but the bottom layer is as sweet as victory. Kids seem to dig the turnabout theme. It's a hot seller around exam time. Just make sure not to eat it backwards. Ha, seriously. Yes, but I'm looking forward to playing Apollo. So if you haven't auditioned for any of the voices yet, you know, you've still got a chance. The deadlines for getting voice samples enter January 1st, so at Riffmaster11 on Skype, let me know you're auditioning. I'll never forget what that young defense lawyer said at that trial. Let's see, what was his name again? Mr. Left? Anyway, he said he's been doing something or other for how many years? Well, anyway, I've got another trial to get to, so I'd better be... Huh? Oh no, I forgot my gavel! Ah, sorry, gotta go. The beard is forgetful! But still awesome. How many characters are they gonna go through? My god. So yeah. I guess I'll just kind of leave you guys to the credits, you know? There's not much more to say about this game. It's a great game. In my opinion, it's third best. The best being Ace Attorney 3, followed by Apollo, and then this, and Ace Attorney 2. Ah, nothing soothes the soul like fresh country air. Still, something I do miss hearing Nick say, Nick and his objections. Still, I can't go back and tell him a full-fledged spirit medium. Maya, afternoon training's about to begin. Coming! Well, see you around, Nick. We will see you in the second game, Maya, if we ever get to it. I want to take a moment to promote Nintendo LPs of this. He's actually doing Justice for All right now, so if you want to see that game and you don't want to wait for me to do it, then go watch his. Because, yeah, he's doing some awesome stuff. Indeed, indeed, indeed. What's going on with Edgeworth? Mr. Edgeworth. Oh, Mr. Edgeworth! Ah, Mr. Edgeworth! I brought you your tea! Huh? What's going on? What is going on? We're gonna get to see what's happening to Edgeworth here? Possibly? That would be nice. I want to see what happened to Edgeworth, dang it. Thanks for coming to send it off. I can't believe I'm going to Europe. Going to Europe, huh? Thank you, Mr. Rout. Thank you so much for everything. I'm a little sad, but I'll be alright. Whenever I want to see Lana, all I have to do is open this book. Oh, well, let's open the book then, shall we? Hey, look, a letter. Aww, that is awesome. That is awesome. So yeah, thank you all for watching this LP. I enjoyed doing it. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Rate, comment, subscribe, favorite, and I will see you guys on Apollo.